What's up, family? This is Will Dorsey of Talk Music Podcast. My guest on this month, man, it's a guy that I used to play with a long time ago with their band called Jimmy's Chicken Shack, and always had the most respect for that band. We've done a lot of stuff, between, like the early, well, mid 90s, going that way. But I want to introduce to you and let everybody know about Jimi Haha, otherwise to me known as Jimmy Davis. So, everybody, welcome Jimi Haha.
Welcome to Talk Music with Will Dorsey Jr.
Every month,
Our host Will is going to interview musicians from around the world and talk everything music. Our listeners range from professionals to recreational musicians who want to learn more about the industry, their instruments, and the community of top musicians. So join us, subscribe, and keep up with Talk Music.
visit us on www.talkmusicpodcast.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Download our podcast on Apple, Google, Amazon, and Spotify.
Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, E-Record Studio, the new way musicians rehearse, record, and share their E-Record sessions on social media. Visit ERS on erecordstudio.com. Download this amazing app on Google and Apple Apps stores.
Jimi Haha.
What's up?
What's up, dude? Hey, man.
How you doing, brother?
Can I use your real name? Jimmy
Sure.
Davis?
Yeah.
Jimmy Davis.
Yeah.
Everybody, welcome Jimmy Davis.
What's going on?
Oh, not too much, man. I want to talk to you for a little bit, the history of Jimmy's Chicken Shack and whatnot. And yeah, I want to go back and like when I met you, I think the first time. I think we were somewhere in Baltimore somewhere, and I think Laughing Colors and Jimmy's Chicken Shack had a show together or something like that at some festival, and I think it was in Fells Point. I don't remember. It was like back in '96, or I don't.
How
even,
could we remember that?
Yeah, but
And it was probably before. It was probably like 90, 94 or 95. Honestly, yeah.
yeah. Man, can I talk about like when you first got with well, let's go back to this. Let's go to like how did Jimmy's Chicken Shack even start?
Well, so I was in a band in the 80s from like 87 to 91 called 10 Times Big.
Oh yeah.
And we played up and down the East Coast and we almost got a record deal with a kind of a not a major, but an indie with a deal through a major. And we're together for 5 years. But one of the early bands that we had played with was called Ghost of the Graveyard, and that was a few guys in that band that I remained friends with. And one was the guitar player Jim McDonough, or Jim McD, through the
Yeah.
band, and so we started playing acoustic. And this was after 10 Times Big broke up, so sometime around 91 and 92-ish. We were just kind of throwing around acoustic songs, and we started doing some open mics. And then the second drummer for 10 Times Big was Jim Chaney.
Oh,
And so he had some congas, and we'd go down in Annapolis and play an open mic night, and just do a few songs. And eventually Jim was like, dude, I know this bass player. And so that was Che.
right.
And he was like, we should get together with him at my mom's house, and she'll let us practice in the main room. And so sure enough, we would go over there, and I think we played we jammed on a like couple ideas, and I was like, dudes, yeah, we're gonna get signed to a record deal. And they all laughed at me. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, man, I was like, that it's something's going to happen here. It
Right.
was what was actually really funny about that practice was we were jamming on this one idea, and her drop ceiling, those ceilings that are kind of called drop ceilings.
Oh yeah.
It the entire thing, we were playing so loud and so hard that the whole ceiling fell in, and all of us were standing there playing, just raging, and the roof caved in. So
Wow.
basically, the drop ceiling fell in. All the panels where we were standing popped up, and
Right.
then the rest of the ceiling was sitting at our chest level. So it was, we were like, what just happened? So the song that we were playing at the time, that jam we were playing, turned into the song called "The Roof," When the Roof Caves In, which is on
Oh
the
man.
first indie record.
Dude,
So
that's cool,
it
man.
was pretty funny.
Yeah. So can I ask like how did the name Jimmy's Chicken Shack stuck?
Oh yes. So it was funny. I guess when we were doing the acoustic trio, maybe still,
Right.
or maybe we had gotten a bass player at that point. The old bass player from 10 Times Big was named Lonnie Fisher. He opened up the club Sonar. He started
Oh,
all of the Ultra World raves in Baltimore back in the day. So,
okay.
and he had been reading Malcolm X's biography, and he's like, I want to start a band called the Lindy Hop. He's like, you guys should call your band Jimmy's Chicken Shack. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, you should call your band Jimmy's Chicken Shack. And he told me what it was. He's like, oh yeah, Malcolm. Before he was Malcolm, he was called Red, and he was a drug dealer, and he would go to Jimmy's Chicken Shack, and he'd kind of, it was the hangout in Harlem. This like kind of music venue, cool place to hang, and so everybody would go to Jimmy's Chicken Shack, and it was spelled with two M's and a Y.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay. Yeah.
Charlie Parker worked in the kitchen, and like Red Fox worked in the kitchen. And so,
What?
I heard about it, and I thought it was funny. And we always called, we call it chicken. So, and three of us were named Jimmy. It was me, Jim McDonough, and Jim Chaney. So
Yeah.
I was like, well, I was like, man, that name is definitely memorable. It has to do with music and cool culture.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and I was like, we just got to change the spelling so nobody thinks it's any one of us. And so we changed it to
Mm,
Jimmies. And that
okay.
way, because, a couple guys are like, well, I spell my name like this now. And I'm like, no, you don't. And I was like, well, if it's Jimmies, then
Oh,
nobody can take credit for it. So.
oh man. Man, I was gonna ask, like, um, if it did come from the three Jimmys in the band, but I'm glad you told me that the behind story of that.
Oh
That's
yeah,
that's
I mean, it's a legitimate blues joint that, it's a cool place in Harlem, and and it was referenced in Malcolm X biography. Actually, J.J. Walker on Good Times worked at Jimmy's Chicken Shack.
what?
Yeah,
Come on,
it's
man.
awesome. Yeah.
Dude, man. Was going like after that, how many years did it take to get to were you guys signed on A&R Records or
No, so it was Rocket Records, which was a subsidiary of A&M Associated at first, and then I mean, within our first record, it was on three. It became Polygram, and then it became Universal, all within one record. It was crazy. I mean, this was
oh,
so, and it's also weird because it felt like it was forever, but it literally, we had been a band for 3 years and we got signed,
all right.
and it felt like an eternity at the time. We were all in our mid to late 20s, but
Yeah.
yeah, so it was Rocket Records was the label, and that was, a subsidiary to, at first, A&M Associated, but this is kind of right where the industry really started having the first little quakes before it got decimated by, like the introduction of Napster and all the streaming stuff. And
Mm,
when really all these labels started to close, there was a
yeah.
lot of mergers happening, a lot of things shifting. It's just like, it's like, it's that kind of percolation of troubled water before before
Hmm.
the storm kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So we lived through three different labels just on, two singles and our first record. So it was, and then the third late time, I mean the second record, God, that was, we were to another, we never had the same A&R guys
Right.
at the labels. I mean, we had our label, but it's got changed over so many times. That's amazing. We even got records put out, honestly.
Oh, wow.
because
Oh
you know how
wow.
that world goes. I
Yeah.
mean, in the industry, it's like it doesn't matter how good your music is. You could just have signed to the wrong entity, and inevitably your record gets shelved, and nobody ever hears it. And it doesn't
Mm,
matter. Has nothing to do with the music. It just has to do with kind of where your ball drops in the ball of roulette.
right.
Put your
Man.
bets down and hope they call it on red or something. I don't know.
Um, can I tell you my experience? Like, we played together, a long time in those 3 years before you guys got signed. But can I tell you my reaction when the first time I actually got to see the video? And I know it was at the 8x10.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I wanted
And
to
my
go,
backyard.
oh, in your backyard,
Yeah,
really?
that barn was in our backyard.
Oh man, really? Dude, that's awesome.
That
That
was a free site.
um I just wanted to tell you, I think it was me and my brother, Derek, um, how excited that we were that we got to see one of our fellow, bands actually make it
Right.
during our time.
Yeah.
Especially, for High, man. It's like me and him just both were both quiet and just glued to watching MTV to make sure we saw your guys' video. And like I think the first time they showed it, man, I was just like, oh my gosh, man, they they did it, man. So proud of you guys. Like, doing it, like that. Especially with High and um, yeah, so proud. We both were proud.
Oh, that's so
Um,
cool. It was a cool time, man. It was
yeah,
just there was so much good music, and the one thing I'll say about our music scene was there was so much camaraderie. It
right.
was like I always tell people that it was we were there's a lot of music scenes, a lot of cities where there's a big music scene and there's a lot of competition. And I felt like none of us were ever in competition. And it's because we were always kind of like the Bermuda Triangle of the industry. It's like, tours would pass DC and Baltimore, and
Hmm.
obviously we were from Annapolis, but I always would say that was the Bermuda Triangle is Annapolis, Baltimore and DC because things would just skip over us. And so as a result, it's like we all banded together, like all the different bands, and it didn't matter what style of band it was. Like we were
Yeah.
all, and I think that's part of why a lot of those bands, when they all ships rise with the tide kind of a thing. I think there's a reason why everybody kind of did well in that period was because it's like we played with you guys.
Hmm.
At first you guys were primarily cover band, and then
Yeah.
switched over to original band. And
Yep.
I was like, dude, these guys are packing rooms. We need to play with them. And so we'd open up for you guys, and then we would open
Yeah.
up for Kelly Bell Band, which is a blues band, and then we'd open
Yeah.
up for a hardcore band, and then Almighty Senators, who were like a
Oh
soul and
man.
funk band. And so it
Yeah.
was like we were able to borrow from every bit, but also all of us as we all played and we all got together and did shows. I think the shows were diverse, which was
Yeah.
really cool. It wasn't like just punk bands all night.
Yeah.
It was always a difference of music and a cool ebb and flow to a show. And as a result, I mean, you remember this the scene back then and the shows back then.
Yeah.
We
It-
were in a really lucky place and a lucky time.
oh my, our area was it was like you said, it was jumping, man. Like
Yeah,
with all these bands like Live Alien Broadcast and The Martians. It was just to me, it was just like I was just so lucky to be in that scene because DC, scene, I was me and my brother were in that scene. It was a little different compared to
totally.
what like the Baltimore and Annapolis scene was. But I mean, it was so much more like bands that were, it was just good music.
Yeah,
So much
that's
good
it.
music,
Well,
you
and I
know?
think, it's like you had the DC hardcore scene, you had the reggae scene in DC,
Hmm.
and then you had the nightclub scene and DJs and stuff. But then Baltimore was this like pile of bizarrety, you know what I mean? It's like the bands from Baltimore were so cool, and some of them were just brutally hard, or some were just quirky and arty. But I would say that no matter what in our area, the one thing you had to be was real. It didn't matter what kind of music you played. It just had to be real. And so it was a great proving ground. Like nothing that was contrived really would would work. I mean, it just wouldn't fly after a while because it's such a real scene in any of those cities, and in Annapolis as well. It was like, even if you're just a singer-songwriter playing in the corner of a bar, it would just the people that kind of would be able to break through all of that were the people that just were just, unpretentious and real.
Yeah.
Thought it was cool.
No, it was, man. Was your guys' first manager, was it Chris Keith?
No, it was always Richard.
It
We
was
only had
always
one
Richard.
manager.
Okay.
Yeah, only
Okay.
one manager. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So how'd you guys meet Richard?
So we there was a place called the Mansion in Annapolis. It was this old house that didn't have any, like, I don't know if they had running water. I think they might have running water, but it was just this beat up old mansion. And a bunch of guys are living there. Jim Cullen, who is huge at PRS now, he was there, and the band's playing. But Mike Forgione lived there, and he had set up a little recording thing. We recorded our second record there called Spitburger Lottery,
Oh,
because the first record we did was Chicken Scratch, and that
right.
was the first 6 months we were together. We just put a record out, and then we did Spitburger Lottery at the Mansion. Well, the Mansion was having these shows, and they had a weekend of shows basically, and we played the first night, and then the second night I think the cops came because Almighty Senators were playing, and it was I think the neighbors were like, that's 2 nights in a row.
Right. Oh,
And,
man.
but the second night, what happened was Richard, our manager, and his wife at the time were here over from England because there was a funeral that they were going to. Connie, his wife at the time, was from around this area. They were going to a funeral. They were in Arnold, and they saw some people skating in the parking lot. And they asked the skateboarders, "Hey, what's going on?" She asked the skateboarders like what was going on musically, and one of those people was Dietram, Dietram,
Yeah.
our old guitar tech.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was like, "Oh, there's a show going on at the Mansion. A bunch of local bands are playing there." And so Richard ended up going the next day. The night we weren't there.
Right.
And Mike gave him a bunch of tapes, and like I don't know, probably 6 months later or something. It was in the winter. That was in the summer. So in the winter, I got a call from this dude with a English accent. He was asking me, I really like your band, and I was like, yeah, that's weird. All right. And a few people wanted to manage us at the time, and I was a little leery.
Yeah.
Some guy with an English accent. Yeah, okay, you're trolling.
Right.
And, I just talked to him I literally talked to him for a while. He came in, he flew in and saw us in New York at Bleecker Street Pub in front of like 5 people.
Really?
And he was like, "Yep, I want to manage you." And then it took me a while to just be like, "Okay, finally, let's do it." And
Right.
because he said, basically, I'll give you a contract that says if I get you signed within the first year of doing this, then I'll be your manager. If not, you're free to go wherever and do whatever you want. And so that's what happened. He moved to Maryland from England with his whole family and started
Wow.
managing us. Yeah.
Dude.
And then we were signed within a year of that. And we had, he got us in front of a lot of labels, and he was connected, and he knew the business, and he was a solid dude. So,
Yeah.
and
No,
he's still my manager.
Right. Is he really?
Yes, he is.
Please tell him I said hello.
Oh, I will,
so
for sure.
yeah.
For sure.
It's been a long time since I talked, spoken to him,
He's been in New York City for the past decade. He's been the CEO for American Association for Independent Music. So this is his last year there, but yeah, he's still crushing stuff, doing things that are beyond me.
Man, can we jump to I guess after what's it, 2 for 1?
Right.
That's when Pushin' came out, right?
So 2 for 1 special was a collection. So we had put out tapes. So we did Chicken Scratch was our first tape. Then we did Spitburger Lottery, and I was getting them done over at Lion and Fox Studios. They had that. I'll do all the reggae bands and stuff in DC, and they had a production place too. So we would get tapes done, and I'd be sticking the stickers on the tapes. I started Foul Records, the record label that we were on, and so I'd just sit in my house and do that, and we were going through thousands of tapes for shows. And so finally I was like, man, they have CDs. I was like, we don't have any money, but I'm gonna hustle with them and see what I can do. And I convinced them, hey, front us 1,000 CDs. We'll put both of our cassettes that we've sold, a couple thousand of each on this one CD, and I will pay you back. And the guy
Right.
was solid and did exactly that. He just, we made a CD, and that was 2-for-1 special. So it was the
Right.
first 2 records. We started it with the newest record, Spitburger Lottery, but yeah, and I mean, by the time we were signed, we had, between that and our live CD, we had sold like 25,000 records, before we even signed the record deal. So it was
Hmm.
pretty cool. It helped us out, it helped us
Right.
move away.
Man, I don't know why I have this song in my head, like when we were playing together, and I don't know, this song, the way you guys wrote this song was Bliss.
Oh yeah, I wrote that.
Yeah. Awesome song.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, man. And like even the beginning of it, it's just some power behind it for me.
Oh, nice.
That's what I liked about the song. And I remember that, it's like I was telling my girlfriend at the time, I remember watching you guys before, like you guys got signed or whatever, and you guys played that song. I'm like, damn. You
It's
know,
it's funny because it became a thing like Freebird at all of our shows where people were like, play Bliss, and I'd be like, no,
right.
but because it's funny, we've never really gotten a great recording. I mean, all the versions are these little indie recordings that we did, but
Right.
people have always liked it. And it's funny, I always felt like it was a little too like classic rock ish, but honestly, I might try to make I've tried to make a version of it at some point on every record, and who knows, maybe our next record it'll
Right.
appear.
Dude, I mean, it's a killer song, man. Like,
I
uh,
love the song. It's just I don't know why. It just never has risen past the little indie recordings that we did of it.
oh man, dude, I got the pleasure of playing with you guys. I forgot what year it was, like 2001, two or whatever. I don't know when it was, and got to play with my brother. That got to join you guys. What was it, like maybe 4 or 5 years later after when Che left or whatever, but yeah,
It's well,
who,
no,
who
because no, by the time you played with us, Derek was already in the band with us.
right,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So I guess it was probably sometime around 2000, and let me think, because it was probably around 2002 or 2003. Derek
right,
was playing in Rebel Amish Radio, and Che
yeah,
was playing with us, and Che was just kind of burnt, and he was
yeah,
becoming really good friends with George,
yeah, George Bold.
and so then yeah, we swapped bass players basically. It was awesome.
Dude,
And
it
I
was,
mean, it was killer because I mean Derek's just phenomenal.
oh
Like,
man.
I mean, you two together, especially, is like I was like, that's some unfair shit if anybody hits you guys in a band because you're brothers and you're so solid. Like, and we luckily got to do that rhythm section a couple
Ye-
times, which is
Oh
awesome.
man.
But
Yeah, no. Fun
and
times though.
they also, it's like being in a band in your late 20s, early 30s. I mean, guys are just dicks.
Uh,
Men in that age, they're just full of energy and just
oh,
piss and vinegar. And then
yes.
you get Derek, and Derek's just chill, just so chill. Like there's never an issue. Like it was just he's the easiest person to play music with on the planet, dude. And
Yeah.
he's just got that big warm voice, and he just no nonsense, never any
Yeah.
drama. It was like thank you, Jesus.
Right.
It was awesome. It was great, man.
Dude, it was I hope we get to play a video of that on our show, just us just jamming, but I didn't get to practice with you guys. Uh
We don't do that.
right?
Wait, you
So
got as much practice as every single person who's ever entered this band after
really?
all the original people. Yeah, dude.
Oh
They're like,
wow.
when can we get together and practice? I'm like, we have a gig coming
Right.
up, and we got to play for 2.5 hours, and that's your first practice. It's fun that way, though. I
Oh
mean,
man.
to me, it's like it's fun because you're like you're just tiptoeing the ledge, you know. It's like,
Yeah.
and it's just different. I mean, because I mean, we played with the fill-in drummer, BJ Curran played the last gig with us because Jerome couldn't play.
All
BJ
right.
plays with Candlebox,
Okay.
and we he's filled in before when Jerome couldn't do a gig, but man, it's always such a whole different feel.
Yeah.
And I like that it's feels it makes things feel new and different and sometimes wrong and I don't know, sometimes that's really good is to
Hmm.
have those things feel like, oh, this totally has a different feel right now, and that's probably pretty cool.
Oh
So
man.
yeah.
Dude, I thought it's a fun experience. And for me, it was like just get me on my toes of learning stuff, back then. And it's just it was it was just good for me anyway, you know. I mean for future bands or whatever, and I don't know. That's how I felt, about it. Like even though I was nervous as all get out, because I didn't want to mess up for you, man.
Oh, well, I mean, I love to mess up, so yeah,
All
you
right.
should have never worried about it. But the thing is, you were perfect. Like, I mean, I could never do what anybody has ever done when they come and fill in with us. Like, I couldn't. There's no way. I just could not go sit in with the band for the night and learn all their music. It's crazy. So, do I expect people to like? First of all, we've never been a band about perfection. I mean,
Right,
I want things to go wrong,
right,
honestly, because you got to find your way out of them. So yeah,
right.
you were perfect on all
Dude,
these gigs,
thank
man. It
you.
was easy.
Thank you, man. Dude, can I tell you what I like about your lyrics? Like most of the time, like all of
Sure,
them.
bring that on me.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna do this, and I'm gonna tell you.
Tell me what you
And
like
here we
about
go.
me.
Okay, I like that you just spit the truth, like how you feel. Like even on the new record, what is
Right.
it? 2 seconds?
Seconds. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
seconds. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Um,
it's got the two as the S, so it
right.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. But I like how you always been like that. Just
Yeah.
you always said how you felt. Like shut your mouth or whatever, and I I I, I like
Get your
that.
knee off my throat so I can breathe.
Yes. Thank
It's
you.
like, yeah, it's like, I don't know. I don't know. We never did anything to please anybody. We're just doing stuff to please ourselves. And honestly, if you're playing music I think people play music for different reasons,
Right.
obviously. And sure, part of it was I wasn't good at throwing a football. I wanted to attract girls to like me, so learn to play the guitar. But
Right.
or I'm full of myself and I want to be the singer in a band. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I think more than
Right.
anything, for me, it was a release, a venting. It was a form of therapy.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I've never gone into therapy. I probably would
Right.
have had to had I not had music. I've never
Mm,
visited jail for an evening,
yeah.
and I know I certainly would have had I
R-
not had music to get all this stuff out. And so maybe that's part of it. Maybe I guess lyrically it comes to the fact that it's you either have to speak the truth or you have to learn how to shape a song a certain way, and that's a lot harder than just speaking the truth.
Oh, yeah.
To me, it's
Yeah.
like
Right.
writing a perfect pop song is way harder than just kind of yelling about what's on your mind.
Right. But I mean, it's like you this with the lyrics, man. It's just for me, it's that you just actually saying it, just actually because you have that voice that's just and it cuts through,
Awesome.
and that's what I was getting at,
Nice.
for me, you have a distinct voice, compared to like a lot of voices that were in especially in our scene or whatever, and still even now still um there is I wanted to also ask like your writing process because you just went on to it for a little bit. Um, do you do the lyrics first or do you do music first?
I don't know. I mean, it's
Yeah, is
never
this?
There's never any. I don't even know if I'm ever going to write another song again, especially after I've written a song. It's like,
Right.
a lot. It depends. Sometimes it'll be, a riff,
Yeah.
and then I'll babble to it. Or sometimes I've written down entire lyrics to a song and then gone home and tried to shape music around it. But I love collaborating because that's a whole nother world where somebody's got an idea and you're like, oh, and you glom onto that
Mm,
and then expand upon it. And that makes you, I personally love those things sometimes more than the things that I've written myself. And
right.
so, yeah, there's no way that the early stuff I remember we would just have live jams and record them, and I'd go back and listen and be like, because the melody, yeah, I feel like you got to let songs write themselves, right? They got
Yeah.
because they're not ours, they're everybody's, and it's all one song really. It's all floating in the abyss, and we're just at moments taking particular parts and putting particular colors on it and
Yeah.
marking certain sections of the song that's just happening around us, right?
Right.
So I would go back and listen. We'd be jamming, and I would just start babbling on the mic, but the melody would find its way. And so then I'd think to myself, well, if I work on this, I'm chiseling it down, I'm molding it, I'm changing the rawness of it. But if
Hmm.
I figure out what was happening initially, then maybe that'll I'll follow where it's trying to write itself and let it tell me where it wants to go. And so I would listen to it and be like, what does it sound like I'm saying?
Right.
and and then eventually it would reveal itself. So this babble would turn into things that I would have never written. And then then you just kind of could follow those things. So it's all different. It's sometimes there's an intention and sometimes there's just a flow, and you let it lead you,
Right.
and let it, because that's the fun part for me, is that not knowing. It's the mystery. It's like why I don't ever want to learn theory. It's because I know myself, and if I know something, I'm gonna get bored with it. If I
Yeah.
understood music that way, and it was that simple, that I go, oh, it's a B flat and suspended chord, and then I'm just gonna play these scales, and I would be bored shitless with that. So
Yeah.
literally, I look at this guitar and there's lines that go this way and lines that go that way, and it's an
Yeah.
enigma to me always. It's always a mystery. So when I do write something or play something, it's always a little weird and different, and people who know things will go, oh, that's weird. I figured it out this way. But you're doing it sounds different. And I'm like, I guess because
Right.
you know, I just let it be what it was. So
Mm.
it's funny. It's funny that 30 years later, I'll take a song that has all this kind of sounds all complicated and it's all this movement, and I'm
Right.
like, oh shit, that's CGE. That's all it is. It's just me just kind of loping around all this.
All right.
So,
Dude.
I don't know. So yeah, I have no idea how you write songs.
Mm. Well, that's
They
that's
write
cool.
themselves.
I I just noticed that, your sound, it kind of reminds me of another band that I loved. Which was, when I joined Laughing Colors, I was into way different music than they were, right?
Right.
And it just reminded me that it had this certain sound that Jimmy's had, and still have, was like Helmet or Quicksand.
Oh, cool.
I don't know,
That's not
Quicksand.
bad.
I don't know if you're like those bands or at
Oh,
all.
well, let me just say that
Oh,
so I got Quicksand Slip because Shane Bowler was working at Record Exchange in Annapolis at Hillsmere. I mean, I remember these things so vividly.
oh man,
And
okay.
I walked in, he's like, dude, you got to hear this record. And so he gave me Quicksand Slip, and I put it in the car. And it's funny, the first song it came on, it was like, "Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun." And I was like, yeah, okay, now I know what it is. And then my girlfriend at the time was like, this is noisy. And I kept playing it. And then I'm like, yeah, this is the best guitar record that has come out ever. Like, it is the
Mm.
best record for guitar, cool riffs, and
Oh,
great lyrics. I mean, it is. And still to this day, it
yeah.
is easily one of my favorite records ever, front to back. And the funny part about it was I'd never looked at producers or any of this stuff at the time,
Yeah.
but I looked who produced the record, and his name was Steven Hagler. So I wrote him a letter and mailed it. I said, hi, we're in this band named Jimmy Chicken Shack. Would you make our record? Well, years later, when we got signed to a record label, I requested that he do our record, and so he recorded Pushing the Salmonella Envelope. And when we got to the studio, he's like, and he's got this South Carolina drawl. He's like, you sent me a letter. It's not that bad. My
Right.
draws are, but he's like, you sent me a letter and you didn't leave a phone number.
Oh.
So I typed out a letter, wrote a hand letter and say, hey, we want you to produce our record. He's like, but I didn't have a phone number. I was like, was there a return address? I was like, well, it only took a few years, but yeah. So yeah, I love Quicksand. That is a compliment beyond compliments.
Dude, I love Quicksand, and Slip was my record as well.
So good.
Along for me, it was Helmet, Meantime.
Yeah. And Helmet took them out and had Quicksand open for them, and I was like, that's ballsy.
Yeah, it is.
That's ballsy to let Quicksand open for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Whoa.
Man.
Who'd you see them at?
Oh, so I didn't see that tour. I saw it was I saw him at the original 930 Club. It was Helmet, Gorilla Biscuits.
Ooh.
Or no, maybe it was Quicksand. It was Quicksand, Civ, and Gorilla Biscuits. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Oh.
Just ridiculous show. And that was for what was it, Decompression, their second record?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that tour actually. So I didn't see them play with Helmet, unfortunately. I would have loved that. I mean, what a night of fun that would have been.
Oh my God.
Kicked in the head a couple times.
Yeah. That would have been well worth it.
Yeah, totally. There would be scars.
Me and my brother got to see Helmet at 930, the old 930, and there was barely anyone there. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Like they killed it. I'm sorry. They just killed it. I'm sorry.
And Quicksand's still crushing it. I mean, and just I wish I would have seen the tour that they did where they did Slip full, the full version of Slip, the 30-year anniversary. I wanted to go so bad, but yeah, they're still badass. Walter's a monster.
I didn't know you were a fan of Quicksand, man.
Oh my God, dude. I mean, Walter's lyrics too, his delivery. It's like I air guitar and drum through every song there.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, the first time I really, I saw, we were in the Bayou, we played the Bayou, and they had that big screen that they would play videos on before you would play shows.
Yeah.
And then the Dine Alone video came on, and I was like, dude. The guitar kind of assault. It's like it was really cool how the guitars were tight as shit, but somehow they're rebellious as hell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just there was such great aggression especially for a dude who grew up in suburbia.
Right. Dude, man, that's sick, man. I didn't know, man. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool that we're both fans of that band, and
how can't you be, man?
Yeah,
so good.
But man, you couldn't put like Jimmy's in a genre category, could you?
It doesn't work, man. So it was funny because it's funny. So Richard, our manager, he coined the phrase "new romantic." So like in the new wave era and the new romantic music, which was like Aha and Spandau, because he was a producer at the time, and he coined that phrase. And he was like, "You got to coin a phrase." He's like, "You've got grunge," and he's like, "You got to figure out what you are, because you don't really have you guys don't have a sound. It's like your sound is a bunch of things. It's like there's beautiful things, and then there's really blistering hard things, and then there's really melodic things, and then there's funky and jammy things." And I was like, it's like a mutt, and so we called it mutt rock.
Oh, okay.
It really was a mutt, and I think part of that was that I certainly didn't. I don't think any of us had an intention to make a certain kind of music. Right. We all liked everything, and it was like, well, why can't you why do we have to be a punk band, or why do you have to be a funk band or a hardcore? Why can't you just be a band? And at the time, I'm sure there's a million bands that are like that, but that's the way we thought. We're like, well, I've got an acoustic song that's pretty, and yeah,
Right.
let's if it sounds good, let's play it. If it works, great. If you know, we'll know after we played a few times in
Right.
front of people if they like it, great. So yeah,
Dude, so that explains like, bring your own stereo was
and the
a
radio
different,
changing.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that and all that explains that.
Well,
Um,
yeah,
okay,
I
go
could.
ahead. Sorry.
Well, because the first record we had High, and so
Right.
it was everybody lumped us in with bands that were wearing Adidas and having hardcore hard driving stuff,
Hmm.
and then we'd be out and playing with them, and sure they'd like some of it, but some of it that'd be like a collective dog going. "Rrr."
Right.
And I guess what I wanted to do was not be pigeonholed. It's not a great business decision in the music industry. Like we should have written 20 versions of High and made 3 records with all of them on it, and it would have been
Hmm.
great, and we would have platinum records, and not my goal. So in fact, I would rather confuse people. So it was like, okay, well, let's do all of these things and really show that we're not just a one-trick pony, that it's not one kind of a song. And so Do Right was a straight up kind of pop punk, not even
Yeah.
punk really. It's not punk at all. It's just
Yeah.
pop. And
Yeah.
then, but Lazy Boy Dash had this like swing to it. And
Yep.
then Face It was hard, and Pure was like
So,
dark metal. And then 30 Days was just pretty with a loop and a beautiful guitar.
ugh.
So it's like the whole idea was to just, I think if you let the things create themselves, the order of that record, just like the order of our newest record, and the way
Mhm.
those songs kind of flow into each other,
Yeah.
laid themselves out.
Yeah.
Because it was never, you make up your mind, you make it up to you shouldn't make up your mind, you should just let your mind be. And then I don't know, it lays stuff lays out for you, at least for me. I think I say my favorite word, or the most predominant word in my language at 50, almost 57,
Hmm.
is acceptance. And so
Yeah.
it's with everything, with relationships or with professional life, with the shit that life throws at you, music, art. It's acceptance. It's accepting it. And sometimes especially with creating songs,
Yeah.
it's really acceptance. Yeah, because people judge their shit too hard, and half the time that'll stop you from doing anything. So I think maybe I've learned over the years, I honed this muscle of acceptance that was
Right.
always kind of important to me, and now it's just it's a natural instinct. So I don't know when the next song will come. It won't be forced, that's for sure.
Right. Right.
It won't be forced.
To me, like Lazy Boy Dash and Do Right, just going with the second record,
Yeah.
between, I remember when you did with the 2 for 1 special and pushing the Seminole, and and I was just wondering, I was like, was the change of the music and what you just explained, like that, and when you did Do Right and Lazy Boy, um, was that wasn't record people telling you you need to do a song like this, or you
No,
just
no, and it was funny. We had the people at Rocket Record were really, Todd Interland was our A&R guy there, and he was really cool. He loved our band, and so he understood that we were going all over the place. But no, these are songs. I mean, Do Right, I had written 7 years before. The old original guys wouldn't play it because they thought it was a silly song, and I was like, yeah. It is a silly song, but it's a silly, catchy song. And
right.
sure enough, it was the biggest single we've ever had. Then, you know, 7 years later, now had we put that out, when I wrote it, it probably would have been a bigger hit the way radio was working, and then High would have come
Mm.
the second record and would have been a bigger hit. But it is what
Oh,
it is.
wow,
But
man, thinking about that, yeah,
but
that's crazy, man.
I didn't. It wasn't like there was a plan. It's funny because Les Claypool had called me to produce a second record because he liked the first record.
Yeah.
And I get this call, and he's like, "Hello, is this Jimmie?" And I'm like, "Yeah, who's this?" And he's like, "Les Claypool." And I'm like, "Fuck you!" And I hung up, and and because I thought it was my friends messing with me.
Right.
Called me
Oh
back.
my.
And it was really
Really?
Les Claypool, and he was like, "Man, I apologize," and he laughed, and he said he loved our first record, and he heard we were doing another record, and I was like, honestly, I would love to work with you. I love your band,
Yeah.
everything about Primus, I love it, but
Mm,
I just don't think this record's for you. And he was like, I appreciate your honesty, and it wasn't the kind of record that would have been. It wasn't like the first record, and so
right.
well, I think what we really did was just let whatever came, let whatever we wrote, because there was new guys on the band too at that point. Mike Sipple was our drummer, and
Yep.
Double D was our guitar player.
Yep.
And so it was what I want people to have their space. I didn't want them to try to mock and be who was there before. I want them to be them. And so it
Yeah.
was like these are the songs that came out, and the ones that need to will rise and make their way there. So it's funny that the record label at one point were like, "You write weird songs." I was like, "No shit."
Right.
You signed our band, but they were like, you know, you don't have any. You don't write like A B C. You know, like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, outro. You don't
Yeah.
have a song that does that. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about it, but
Yeah.
I guess you're right.
Right.
And so they were like, well, could you write one? And I was like, sure, why not? I'll write
Okay.
one. So I got off the phone and I'm like, all right, I need a good hook. And I was wearing a shirt that I had made with the t-shirt company I was doing at the time with Leo from Shock Treatment. It was
Oh,
called
okay.
Wrong Rags. It's called
Yeah.
Wrong Rags. And we had made a shirt because Troy, the bartender at Acme, had said, tell your mom to stop calling me. And so I was like, and I made a shirt of it because I just thought it was so funny. And I was wearing the shirt. I'm like, well, there's my hook. So I got my hook. And then I've got to write, a verse, chorus, bridge. Well, all you need is that chorus. And so it's tell your mom to stop calling me. So I wrote the song Trash, and I handed it to the label thinking to myself, here's our piece of trash. Here's our pop piece of trash. Here it is for you. And they loved it. And
Oh,
it's a cool song. The funny
yeah.
thing was Elton John, because it was his record label, who's a
Yeah.
total audiophile. We found out later that was his favorite song on the record.
Really? Oh, wow.
I was like, it wasn't one of the deep ones that we loved and thought was
Right.
just the coolest piece of music. It was,
Yeah.
it was the piece of trash that I handed him, wrote in 15 minutes.
Dude, thanks for explaining that, man. I was wondering where Trash came from. You know,
Yeah.
that was on Represent, or was that on Bring Your
No,
Own
that was
Stereo?
on Bring Your Own Stereo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, all right. I'm confusing. Sorry.
And, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well,
Yeah.
and Represent was the one that Derek was on.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And that was with Aaron Lewis.
We did that once. I
yeah.
did a few co-writes on that record. That was we had finally gotten rid of being on our label, which was a whole nother fucking story of nightmare.
Yeah.
Well, if they would have dropped us, so they wanted us. They kept switching the A&R people because at this point it was Island Def Jam. They had dropped Elton John. They had dropped his record label. They dropped everybody. Everybody in the industry got dropped.
That's right.
Hundreds
I
of
forgot about
bands,
that.
tons of labels were done. But they heard when we were recording, they heard Do Right, and they were like, "Well, we'll keep this one band out of all this stuff." So that's why we got that record out, is because they heard Do Right unfinished, and they were like, "This is a hit." And so then, what happened? Oh, what we were talking about? So I didn't lose my draw here.
We were talking about Bring Your Own Stereo. Just talking about
no, Represent and the co-writes.
Yeah.
So what happened was, as the record was going on, we were telling them, you got to put out Lazy Boy Dash. It's huge live, and they were just crossing Do Right over into pop radio, and then Harvey Danger came out with Flagpole Sitter, and they took all of our money and threw it at Flagpole Sitter. I'm like, look, this is a great song, but it's not a deep band. It's like, it's a record. It's one record, and they might get a second record, but we got a history, and you're taking all of our promotion away. So at that time, the head of the label, I'm not going to name the head of the label at that time, but he sat there with feet up on his desk and was like, well, if you want to be gone, just say the word. And I looked at him and I said, the word. And he didn't like that. It come to find out that men who have $50 million parachute clause in their contract with the label. So that means if they run the label into ground, which he did,
Oh,
he'd still get $50 million. But they don't like broke musicians going, yeah, we don't want to be in bed with you anymore. So
yeah.
instead of, they could have dropped us in a weekend, which they did all the time. You were just dropped, you could go get a deal. They dragged it on for 3 years so we couldn't get another record deal
Oh
because,
my,
why not screw with broke people? So, but
come
eventually
on.
we got with Koch Records. And that's when I was like, you know what, I want to do a little more of this kind of showing all the different faces. And so that's why the album cover has a, what mood is that you wear
Oh,
this time? It's about that mood changing. It's like, okay, I've got this here and this here, and I'll put on a different face. And so then it was like, well, all these people that we'd played with over the years and become friends with, I'll do some co-writes. So it was John from Marcy Playground, who I'd known for years,
mm,
Art from Everclear,
okay.
Butch Walker, who I didn't know, but came up and wrote a tune with him, and it was a blast.
Which song
And
was that with Butch
Get
Walker?
Over It. Get Over It.
Oh,
Yeah. And
okay. All right.
he's brilliant. And then
Right.
Mark, I went down to with Mark Tremonti and wrote Strange right in the period where when I went there, he was in the band Creed. When
Right.
I left, he was not in the band Creed anymore. So I was in his house when that happened. And then the one with Aaron, and Aaron was the only one who actually was on the record. We went, he came down, he was doing a show, and he came into Frank Marchand's studio, and
Okay.
we recorded his vocals. And as a result, we've rarely played it live because who the hell's has a voice that sounded like that? It didn't.
Yeah,
It
it's
was a
powerful.
tone that needed to happen
Yeah.
at that counterpoint. And so, yeah, it was cool. It was different.
That's cool, man.
Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, E-Record Studio, the new way musicians rehearse, record, and share their e-record sessions on social media. Visit ERS on erecordstudio.com. Download this amazing app on Google and Apple Apps stores.
Can I go back to Bring Your Own Stereo? I
Oh
forgot to
yeah.
mention a question about who played percussion on the first song on Bring Your Own Stereo? Spiraling.
Wow. You know, I'm guessing maybe Sipple. There was percussion on there. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
probably Sipple.
yeah,
The only person who came in, I think, played unless it was um Stefan, one of the guys. There's a couple guys in the studio that hung out at First Street recording with Jim Wirt,
right.
and they did loops and stuff like that. And sometimes Jim would play something. And he recorded our last record, the Seconds record too. But
Okay, okay.
he had recorded Science by Incubus. And so the only time we had somebody really come in and play a different percussion was Brandon Boyd brought a djembe and played, but that was on Slow Change, which never made it on the proper record. We did a
Dude,
EP from that.
that's another sick song.
Well, the record was supposed to be called Slow Change, and I painted that album cover, and it was this is where the label, I feel like maybe unfortunate. It's not that unfortunate. It's just the way things worked out. They didn't
Right.
want it on the record. It was too long of a song. And so there was that. There was Smiling, which was another acoustic song, and they didn't get on the record. So I was like, all right, here's the deal.
Right.
We'll not do this on the record. Because there was already 13 songs on it or 12 songs. So it's
Yeah.
like, all right, fine. But I want to at least be able to put an EP out. So that's why we change it to Bring Your Own Stereo. All the radio stations changing between the songs. And then I said, we have to put out a Slow Change EP, put these songs that didn't make it on the record. And
Yeah.
then when people get the record, people buy the record, wherever they're buying it, there'll be a card, they can mail it in and get this EP. And so that was supposed to be the name of the record.
Who
And I
wrote
wonder if it would have been different, with a different album cover. I mean, all those
right.
things matter, who knows? It could have had a whole different life, but
Who wrote Slow Change?
I did. Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
Man, another killer song, man.
Keep bringing it.
Dude.
Bring it.
I loved it when you guys played it live. It was just that was a sick song, man.
I loved it. And we started to play it more recently, and then
right.
I still, it's one of my favorite things that I've let write itself.
Dude. Yeah, very, very cool song, man.
Awesome.
Uh, man, I just oh, that was okay. and I know this is a little different right here. I don't know if this is going to make it on the show or not, but the change of the members of Represent and with Kevin Murphy on playing drums
Oh
because I
yeah.
I know there was
I saw him on your show. I watched your whole
all right.
podcast. Oh hell yeah. Had to.
Thank you. Great job that he did on there. And I just because I heard some other demo stuff, that you guys did,
Yeah.
which I guess the world won't hear. But
I might put him out there, honestly. Yeah, but I think I
really?
might. Yeah, I think I went. I came up with something. Uh, I can't remember. It's some stupid name. You couldn't cut it or something. I don't know. But
Oh,
I might put out a release of all of the demos over the years with different players on them because I mean everybody who's ever been in the band has been great
oh my
and
gosh.
great in a different way and
Yeah.
a totally different feel. Like all the drummers have been phenomenal drummers.
Yep.
All of them completely different feel,
Yeah.
completely. And so
Yeah.
it's such a drastic change to a band, a drummer. I mean,
Yeah.
probably more than anything, other than maybe the singer,
Yep.
which should never happen.
Right.
But but it was interesting because we had this feel with Jim Chaney, there was a certain feel to it. With Sipple, it was a certain feel, and then Kevin came in and was just a monster.
Monster. Yeah.
And I mean, he was living in Charlottesville, so it was like basically he was just meeting us and playing shows, and it was for quite a few years.
Damn.
And but when we did the record, we were demoing stuff, and I don't know, it just he came in and did it in like a couple hours, the whole record.
Right.
The,
Oh,
oh,
whole.
the whole record. It was stupid. It was just like he came in and just went, and he hadn't even heard some of the songs and just crushed it.
Oh,
And yeah, it was pretty wild. And then by the time that record came out, his picture's not in the record because he was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna move to Nashville. You're playing country." He's like, "Yeah, I'm from Charlottesville. And it seems like things are moving this way, and I'm just gonna go try my luck down here and just do some, oh, that's cool." And so we got Jerome to play, and so
yeah.
we put Jerome's picture of the record, but Jerome's not playing on the record because it was like, well, we're gonna have all this promo shit going on, and
Right.
and now Kevin's playing stadiums
You're right.
for a hobby.
Right. For a hobby. Yeah. Oh man. Oh man. I saw your interview with Kurt McEwen. That was
Oh,
yeah, that was a long time ago.
oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, it was a
I've
long
done a few with him.
yeah, I know you did a few with him and
Yeah.
like I thought that was killer. I think it was like a couple years back or something I think Seconds just came out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was more, recent, interview. And thank you so much for sending me the record for
Oh, right
Seconds.
on.
Dude, I appreciate it. It just reminded me of, like old vibes of, you know, the old Jimmy Chicken Shack. Um, and I was just happy to hear that record, man. The guys did a killer job on that whole thing,
Awesome.
man.
It was
Um,
fun.
who
It
was
was
who was
most fun.
involved with that record?
So at the time, we had just gone through COVID, but Jerome had a studio in Baltimore. And I had a new hunger to create music. We hadn't done a record in over a decade, and just didn't have anything to. I mean, it wasn't like I didn't make a record. I made a solo record called "Mend the Hollow" with Jim Wirt. He produced it. Went up to Cleveland, so
Okay.
he did Bring Your Own Stereo. I loved working with him so much. I went up to do an acoustic record, and it came out with "Mend the Hollow," and it's like full band stuff. Half of it Jar Flies, that my other band, playing live for 5 songs, and the other half I got a couple guys that I'd never played with before to
Right.
just come up and play. And it was Dominic Fragment on drums, and then Ginger Wolf on steel lap,
Oh,
guitar, and then Jim Wirt played bass on it. But I like half of that record is literally these guys not even really, us never had played together, and so it was fun. Anyway,
dude.
with Seconds, I was like, I want to make I told Jim, I was like, man, I want to make another Jimmy Chicken Shack record, I think. And I think we've got some really cool songs. And so at the time, Island Styles was our guitar player who is
Mm,
now plays with Candlebox as
yeah.
well.
Yep.
And Jerome and Christian, who've been
Yeah.
in the band for years. And we started to get together and we worked on songs. I mean, the first song on the record, Seconds, was a true collaboration. And that's, I think, why it has that old Chicken Shack vibe. We got together, we were in a room, we were pulling parts together as different people had different parts and different ideas. And by the time we were done, it was this really cool song.
Yeah.
And then, other songs, like whether Jerome and Island worked on them first, and then I got him and started like Sleeping with the Enemy was like that. They worked out some stuff, and then I got it and started shaping it and working with it. Simple Concept was a thing that, Island had, just a poppy acoustic thing. And the next day he wasn't in the studio, and I just finished the song out of just a riff and a little vocal idea that he had, that
Mm.
like the melodic hook. And we sent it to him at the end of the day. We're like, oh, by the way, this song's done. and then there's a song like one of my favorites, which is The Sound You Make, which I started during Represent. So it was 20 years old by the time
Oh,
that song was always around and always played it for myself, but I never finished it. It never finished itself. And
okay.
it did. It finished itself finally after 20 years in a really cool way. It's like it had the main riff that I'd played for years. And when we tried to play it together, it just didn't work. And I was like, what if we took that out? And Jerome's like, no, that's my favorite part. I'm like, let's just see what happens. We took it out and Island put a different part in, and it was perfect. It was just like,
Mm.
again, it's a point of letting something be what it really needs to be and not trying to force it to be something. And I kept this riff the whole time that really was just standing in the way for 20 years. It was standing in the way of this song.
Wow.
And then a couple of my favorite parts are I'd written the song Sunsets for Sale, which is more like a Jar Flies kind of a, jammy, groovy song.
Yeah.
And then it felt like it kept wanting to go somewhere when I'd play it on my couch, and I started playing this King Crimson type riff to it, right after it's like this arpeggiated thing.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I was like, well, what if maybe it goes there, and then maybe it goes here. And I just followed it into this prog rock thing. And I was like, let's see what happens in the studio. I left half of it unwritten, finished it all in the studio. And then I was like, well, this is really cool moment of music. And I love how spontaneous it was, and that it was half written in the studio too. It's like, but we'll never be playing this live. And now we play it every show. It like it's, for some reason, it's just been this staple, and I love it. It's really fun.
I was just about to ask you about that part,
Yeah,
that guitar part, like
yeah,
honestly, because to me that stuck out. And
yeah.
I was like, dude, what are you listening to, man? Like what were you listening to?
I don't listen to music at all, really. Honestly,
Uh,
the car radio in my car doesn't work.
All
So
right.
so what I listen to typically is the last TV commercial that was playing while I was watching TV. So I'm like driving around Annapolis going, BK, have
Right.
it your way, you rule. And I'm just doing that for an hour, it's just dumb as shit. I really, I mean, I can't say I don't listen to music, but I don't listen to it a lot. I
Right.
think what happened with that song was I was playing that I'd written Sunsets for Sale, and I really loved the song. I thought it was a I like when I like a song that I've written, because it
Yeah.
doesn't always happen. And
Yeah.
I liked it. And I kept playing it in the house right before we were recording. And I was like, when it stops, it feels like it needs to go somewhere.
Right.
And sometimes I'll do that. There'll be a song and I'll write, and then I'll get to a point, and then it'll be like, there's a door here that I need to let open itself so I can walk through it.
Right.
And that's what happened. And it was that riff that happened one day. And then where it ended up going was nowhere I would have ever planned. I mean,
Right.
again, it was like, that's why I can't really take credit for writing it. My name's on the credit, but it just wrote itself, man. It
Uh,
really did. I
dude,
accepted it.
it's a sick part though, like it's to me it just reminded me of
Yeah.
the old guys, that were in,
Yeah.
but it's still a killer part,
That's
man.
awesome.
You know,
You have impeccable taste, Will.
hey, hey,
Impeccable
hey,
taste.
That's why we played the show together. You
Exactly.
know? I loved it. You know what I mean? So it's still a fun time, and
Hell yeah.
I would do it again. If
Honestly,
you
you probably would have become our drummer had you not been in Laughing Colors, because it came up a lot, and it was like,
oh,
we can't, like, he's Laughing Colors. They're our boys. Like we can't just swoop in and be like, hey, we're just gonna take out your foundation. Enjoy your house
all
as
right,
we pull out your basement. Like,
right.
so yeah, you would have been our, and then we would have had this thickest rhythm section
Oh my gosh.
because of it, you and your brother.
Oh my
We
gosh,
should have
man.
done it, but
Yeah,
now
yeah.
thinking about it. But I will
Nothing
say,
against nothing against my boys, or
the cool thing
that's
is,
in Laughing Colors.
I'm still friends with everyone and Laughing Colors, I believe,
Yeah,
and that's probably one reason, maybe, why.
right.
It
You know,
might not be the case if we were like,
I
hey.
I'm gonna tell you this, and I have to be truthful on this. There was a lot of people after Cheney left. It's like, how could you don't become the drummer for Jimmy's? I'm like, I don't know. No one asked. So I was like,
Right.
it's like, like, but it would have been cool.
Yeah,
Um,
that the Che picked Sipple. I didn't know Sipple at the time. Well, no, I
oh
did know Sipple. I knew him because had been in Julius Bloom. That's right, there a little bit.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so, but when Cheney left, you know, I like playing with people, but I'm looking at the bass player going, who do you want to play with? I
gotcha.
mean, who do you want to play with, man? That's your rhythm section. Like,
Right.
you're a bass. Shay was the most naturally talented person who's ever been in the damn band. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, all right, who do you like? And he's like, oh, Sipple. I was in a
Yeah.
band with Sipple, and I'm like, cool. And then I was like, oh, I know him, and their band wasn't together anymore.
Right.
Julius Bloom wasn't together, so it was easy
Yeah.
to be like, all right.
Yeah.
At
Because
least I think they weren't.
um, because I remember the first time I meeting Che. I remember Mike was in another band before he got into Julius Bloom. They were in some basement. I think it was somewhere in Baltimore
Was it
somewhere.
aggravated assault or something? That
I
was him and Che. Him and Che were in, I
Che.
think, aggravated assault.
So yeah, I think
Yeah,
that was
something like
it.
that. Yeah.
I think that was it. Um, but yeah, I remember them back then. Playing. Like. But it was just crazy. Like how everything just go full circle, the way it did. You know.
Well, and I
Uh,
mean, you think about all the music and bands in the area at that time, in the 90s, early to mid 90s. It's like everybody at somehow knew each other. It was an incestual scene, like most scenes are, I think, is that, how many players are out there that are really solid, especially doing like original music and stuff. It's like,
yeah.
you've got different kind of rooms. You have your cover bands that are packing rooms and stuff, and you've got your hardcore. But it was like around here, it was like all of them were together, so we all knew each other in some way or another. There was like 1 degree of separation for every musician in this area, you know.
Right.
So I think that's kind of how all that worked out. It was
Right.
like powers passed to those near it. That's
Right.
really it. It's like, hey, oh, there you are. Hey, you're right here. Come on over.
Oh man. Oh man. Because I remember also, like during the time, I know there was other drummers or whatever, and I don't know why I keep on missing drummers, but No White.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, played a few shows with you guys
He's
too.
Jarfly's drummer too.
So
But Underfoot, yeah.
that's right.
Underfoot, man. Underfoot.
Man, what a killer band.
Yeah, Brian Wagner, Sting to be a
Yeah,
Genie, and No Way. Yeah, they're great. That was one of
dude.
my favorite bands ever.
Yeah, killer band.
Fantastic.
Um, Man, there was a I was going to ask you again. Are you ever planning on bringing back Jarflies?
I mean, we've never gone away. It's just we just don't play a lot. It's been a little while since we played, but I'm never thinking that it would not happen again. It's just I haven't actively gone to book a show. I think we played last year, a couple times maybe. So
Right.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't see a reason to end any band. Like, everybody thought Jimmy's Chicken Shack stopped at one point. I was like, we never stopped playing shows. We
Right.
we stopped putting out records because
Records.
we just weren't writing stuff. but we were out still playing a lot. I think Jarflies, I don't know why, that we might not ever make a rec. We made one record,
Right.
and half of the Men the Hollow record, but yeah, why never play again? I don't know. Well, I'm sure we will. And now Brian Ewald from Jarflies is now with Chicken Shack.
And that's what I was just about to ask.
Yeah.
That dude's a guitar
Dude,
monster.
it's okay.
That dude is a monster on guitar, man.
So we went from Double D
yeah,
to Casey, and
Yeah.
Casey was great. And then
yeah,
and that was a cool era. And then when Casey rolled out, Matt Jones joined the band.
oh yeah,
And then when Matt went to Cowboy Mouth, Island Styles joined the band. And then it's just like, and each one of them, it was like I literally didn't have a guitar player for about an hour. And then somebody would get on the phone, and then I'd have a guitar player.
oh right, oh wow.
And their first practice would be whatever next show we had. And so, then Island, after we did the record, and he was moving out to California for a few months to score a film, and then he was doing a long the long goodbye tour for Candlebox.
Right.
And I was thinking to myself, he's never coming back.
Oh right.
He's never coming back. And 2 or 3 years later, the long goodbye tour is still waving.
Oh wow, really?
So they're still, Candlebox is still playing because they're having blast. And that's he got Island ended up getting BJ in the band. And they were both played in the Nicky Barr band. So
okay,
so at that point, before Island left, we when we did the new record, we were like, we could probably use another guitar player for some of these songs live. And I knew Matt was not with Cowboy Mouth anymore, or not wanting. He wanted to kind of transition, and he was like, "Can I play with you guys a little?" And I'm like, "Of course." So he started playing with us again, and we would be a 5-piece. I called the Guitar Me, and so 3 guitars, on stage, but it's a blast. And then if Island or Matt couldn't be there, it's a 4-piece again. Well, when Island rolled out, it was like I always was leery of asking Brian, just because he's got so many gigs and he's so good.
Yeah.
And I mean, he played with me at Jarflies for 20 years, so I don't know why I was like apprehensive, but I was finally like, would you think you'd play with all little us? And he would play a few shows, and then eventually I was like, can you just be in our band?
Right.
And it's so cool. It's so good. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's and what's fun is it's so fun every time. It's like, and I think that's part of Jarfly. I mean, so Jarflies, when we started, we never practiced once.
Really?
Never, ever, ever got together in a room and practiced.
Holy
Larry
crap.
Melton on bass,
Yeah.
Noel White on drums, and Brian on guitar, and then John Gillespie played keyboards for a while, from Blue Miracle and Senators, and then Junior Bryce played sax. But no, never once had we got together and practice. We were literally they'd show up. We play every Tuesday at Armadillos, but I'd have new songs. I'd kind of half play it at when we were setting up, and they'd like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever.
Right.
I mean, they're also good that you just start playing and they're gonna play. So the fun of that, I always liked about Chicken Shack too, is having that freedom to not be, this is the song and that's it.
Yeah.
But now it's even got more to that kind of level on certain parts, and it's fun. It's just fun.
I looked for a video with Brian, and I was just like, man, you guys just sound killer.
Yeah, it's
killer.
It's so easy, dude. I could sit there and pick my nose, and it's gonna sound good. I'm gonna pick both of my nostrils and be like, look, Mom, no hands.
Right.
Yeah, it's probably better when I go sit down and just sit back and listen. It's like those are that's probably where we sound the best, is where I'm sitting by the drums and just like going,
right.
Here's my part.
Nice, man. Nice, man. You ever consider doing anything else besides being a singer and playing guitar in a band?
Yeah, I mean, all the time I try to figure out what I'm going to do when I grow up, but have not grown up yet. And I mean, I
Right.
still paint pictures. I still sell paintings. So
That's right. I forgot
yeah,
about your art.
so I still sell paintings, and then I do Upstart Annapolis magazine, so I'm the publisher and creative director of that, and that's been going for 11 years. So I did, I don't. My plan B are the worst plan Bs ever. Like,
Yeah.
oh, if you're not going to play music, what are you going to do? Paint pictures, yeah, or publish a print magazine in the 21st century of
Right.
the digital
Oh,
age.
right.
Print a paper magazine. But I don't know. I'd like to figure out a way to, make a lot of money. That'd be cool, but it's
Right.
never been a goal. and, and and even if it is a goal now, I don't know if I have the personality. I mean, I'm for over 30 some years, I've just been kind of doing what I want to do and
Yeah.
somehow skating along and making it work. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. What if something reveals itself to me?
Right.
I'll see if I accept it.
Oh, I just remember popped it back in my head. Earlier when you said that you guys were still playing live and you guys haven't put out a record. Of course, like some people asked me to want me to ask you, so what happened in the 14 years between albums? Like,
So, I mean, well, we were still playing. I put out Mend the Hollow record.
right.
I did a bunch of kind of stream of consciousness recordings that was under the name Irresistible Smell of Decay, which
Mhm.
is really actually, it's funny. Richard, our manager, was like, "This might be some of my favorite stuff you've ever done," and
Right.
that was all like totally not worked out. Like it's total stream of consciousness. So I got a computer, and Todd Krusberg was living in my basement, and he showed me how to make loops and actually record into a computer and shit. So
Damn.
I'd take like there was Trilogy was a program that was like a bass program, and then there was some other program that was a drum program. So basically, what I would start with a loop of a drum beat, and then like um, I get a guitar or a baritone and tune it really wrong, and
Mm.
then let the first thing my hands did, I would just push record, and I'd go, and it'd be something, and it'd sound totally wrong, and then I'd loop that and try to figure out what works within that, and it would be the first thing that I would do. I would
Right.
record it, and it would go in, and then I just let it. I did that with every bit of layering of music, and then I did it lyrically too. So the first thing I uttered stayed, and then the next
Mm.
thing was what followed without me knowing, and it's really fun. So I did music, and Chicken Shack wrote stuff. I mean, what wasn't there was plenty of stuff that never came out in that era. It's just we never had anything solid. We didn't have a place to record here and there. And then,
Yeah.
we did Fail on Cue. We put on Fail on Cue in 2009.
That's right. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, overall, it was just if for some reason it wasn't time to make between 2009 and 2000 and what was it 23.
Mm.
There was no reason to put out a record.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be. And we were supposed to be playing and
Right.
living and it's funny because I think I know a lot of people sometimes struggle, creative people, especially when they're not being creative. And
Hmm.
I've talked to people about it, and I don't have a problem with it. It's like I feel like how they say the music is the silence between the notes. It's
Yeah.
it's that space so people can physically and emotionally and mentally get into it. If you crowd it up with a bunch of shit, so I
Hmm.
think the same thing goes with life. Is like I can't always be on and creating, and so the nothingness I've learned is actually probably some of my favorite parts of the creative process is when I'm empty, when I'm doing nothing. It's fill in the blank was written about that kind of, and
Mm.
it's that nothingness that I've learned to embrace and realize that those gaps, no matter how long they are vital, because at some point it's kinetic energy. It's inhaling. It's
Yeah.
inhaling.
Yeah.
So it's simply inhaling. And so we inhaled for a good 10 some years.
Right.
And I think as a result, the result is probably my favorite record we've ever done, which is Seconds. I really, I've thought about it. I've listened to all the records, and I like all of them differently and for different reasons. But I
Yeah.
feel like Seconds is just there's something about it.
Yeah.
There's a depth to it, and there's something about I don't know. There's yeah. So it might not be anybody's favorite. It might be everybody's least favorite. But
Right.
for me, and it's not because it's the newest,
Right.
because that doesn't always happen either. Newest thing isn't always their favorite.
Yeah. That's
But
true. That's
yeah.
true. What's your favorite song to play live for yourself, personal reasons?
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
mean,
I mean,
like
it's
the whole catalog that you have with Jimmy's.
yeah.
That's got to be hard.
It changes per day, like per show. But I mean, so Sunsets for Sale and Retrieving Stars, I really love playing, and that
Mm.
part of it is because maybe there's moments, especially at the end, when if we stop and somebody goes, holy shit. You hear somebody in the crowd, just
All right.
go, what the fuck was that? That's a really cool, it's like there's
Yeah.
silence and then somebody goes, whoa.
Right.
That's
Oh.
really cool. Just one person going, oh shit, that's cool.
All right.
Um, but it's so hard to say, man. There's songs where I don't know, I feel the hell out of it when we're playing it one night, and that I would never or even a version of Do Right, which we play all the time, and it's
Yeah.
a silly song where the end would just be something really musical that had never happened, and it's like, oh, that was really fun.
Right.
Or a song that I play, and by the end of it, I've got tears in my eyes, and I'm made me
Mm.
cry that night. So I don't know. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't have. Yeah.
Man, that's great. I mean, that's cool that you get emotional about your songs, man. That's
Oh yeah,
and I
that's
get
no
that.
doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
Like like that's your feelings of that song, and maybe you think about what you what went on during that time when you written that song or whatever. I don't know if that ever happens to you or
Well,
whatever.
well, well, so the song, the sound you make that took me 20 years to write. I'll explain the end of that song
Okay.
because so I had these lyrics and these ideas, but I'd be playing them in my house by myself, and at the end of it, I would have these like I would just wasn't mumbling or babbling. It was like a just a I was channeling something, and I would do this breathing and sound this the rhythmic thing is like and I just find this thing. It would just happen.
Hmm.
It would always bring me to tears. There was no meaning to it. There was nothing. It literally would always bring me to tears, and I'd be playing in my house like that. Just dry my eyes after just sitting there doing this breathing exercise for 5 minutes after playing the 2 minute part of the song that was solid. And
Yeah.
I just so as I was finishing, I was like, what have I been trying to say for 20 years? And I
Mm.
realized or I accepted that I was trying to say, won't you light up and delight us with you?
Oh,
Won't you
wow.
light up? So it's the same rhythm, it's the same breathing, it's the same everything, except it is actually taken complete shape with actual words. And it's won't you light up and delight us with you? And won't you light up and delight us with you?
Oh,
And
man.
I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm a liar. And that's the end of the song.
Oh
And
my gosh.
it makes me cry every time. And it was funny.
Oh.
After the record, Island called me one day. He's like, I was listening to the record and I had to pull over. He's like, and I found myself in tears at the end of that song. And I was like, oh, you finally got it. It hit you.
Wow.
The thing that's been, hitting me. So that's those things to me are why that's why music is just so beautiful for
Yeah.
so many reasons. It's like, God, and I was playing a song yesterday when nobody was in the house,
All right.
and it just, yeah, fucking crying my eyes out.
Oh man. Hey. Hey man.
It was awesome. It's my
Yeah. No.
favorite parts, man. It's
Right.
my favorite thing. And honestly, if it can make me feel that, then I know that something's right about it. And then, if that translates, because it's not necessarily, they're never sad. It's never a sad thing. It's hard to explain what that emotion is. It's just, I don't know. It's
Mm.
voices from the abyss just wailing out at you or something.
Right.
I
Oh man. Thanks for answering that question, man. I appreciate that.
don't
Because
know.
I know that's very personal. Because I go through it as well, and it doesn't matter, like. it's mostly lyrics, because I don't think about drum parts or whatever, boring stuff like that, but it's just, for me, it's lyrics, of course, you know what I mean? But it could be something that, I listen, with, Laughing Color stuff or whatever, and just getting into it with what Dave's saying or whatever, and it's just
Well, I will say this though. You can have the most heartfelt and emotional lyric, but if there's not room in all that music to lay that bed down for someone to lay in that pillow and cry their face off on.
yeah,
So the drum part, though you might not be thinking about the drum parts, what
yeah,
happens with you and musicians that are as in tune as you are, I've noticed over the years, is you already get the acceptance thing. You don't have to explain that to yourself. You don't have to go, oh, a good pocket, a good drum beat for any song is not the beat that I'm thinking about playing. It's the beat that it's telling me to play.
hmm
So you already do it. It's just a natural thing. So it's your acceptance that makes that song have the ability to impact somebody in such a way. It's
yeah,
so important. It's the most important thing because a drummer could beat the life out of a beautiful thing. They
right,
could ruin. I mean, you think about all the songs that you love, man. It's those emotional songs. It's rhythm. That's because that's speaking to your pulse. That's
yeah,
speaking directly to the heartbeat.
yeah,
So it's way important, man. I think it's one of, if not the most important thing. I mean,
man,
the rest, because you can, it's translating that pulse that gets people. And you can paint that with any amount of words. You can be
true.
silly as shit and make people laugh. You can, but it's yeah, all my favorite musicians started out as Matt Mahaffey from Self.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that band.
Well, all my favorite musicians, typically the ones that I respect the most, that like blow me away, they were drummers first. They're drummers and then they play every instrument and I hate them.
I didn't know he was a drummer.
Yeah, dude, he's ridiculous. He plays everything. I mean, I met him when he was 19 when Subliminal Plastic Motives came out and I told him I'm going to have to kill you. I was like, I can't think of a better compliment than you are going to die because I'm going to kill you.
Wow. I didn't know about
He played
self like
everything on
that.
that record. He played everything on that record. Go back and listen to Subliminal Plastic
Yeah.
Motives by
No,
Self.
I
And
am.
and he played everything. And he was 19. It's like hateable.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it's just wrong. It's not fair. It's
Come
why,
on.
and part of this is so the universe can only disperse greatness in so many places, and it's why his greatness is why have so much suck. because
Oh,
because it was all that greatness was thrown in his lap. So there's a sliver for you, Jimmy. We gave it all to Matt.
really?
We gave it
Oh,
all to Matt.
wow.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. But
Wow.
I think again, I think it has to do with somebody who is so, yeah, cosmically fucked up that they can make all four limbs do different shit at the same time.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, you all are aliens.
Right? Dude, man. I'm gonna switch it up on you.
Yep.
Let's see. Guitar gear. I know, you know what? Before we get into guitar gear, okay. I remember this like back in the day, and it always got me. And I know you made fun of other bands, which I loved.
No, never.
The big rock endings.
Oh,
Explain that. Where did that come from?
because music is stupid. I mean, like the whole idol worship thing is just so stupid. And this is probably another reason why we've only gotten to a certain place in the music industry. Is
Right,
because, I'm going to take the wind out of our sails instantly, especially live.
right.
I think that the whole that veil of seriousness is just so stupid. I mean, it's
Yeah,
partly why am dubbed Jimi Haha because it's a joke, and so I get
right,
to sign autographs. Haha. I mean, when
right.
did it name? I sign all my paintings. Haha. It's like, Why is this perpetuation of my name and ego important? It's not. It's pathetic. It's stupid. So
Right.
so the whole ethos, especially in rock music, but
Yeah.
in all of them, I mean, hip hop, all of it, everybody's strutting their bullshit. Everybody's strutting. No, no, don't. To me, it's all so like funny. It's just
Right.
funny. So, and I'm not like disparaging anyone. I'm just
Right.
taking the piss out of it,
Right.
because I can't seriously go on stage like, well, I don't know if you ever remember our banner. Did you ever remember our banner? So we had
Uh,
we were on tour with Live and Luscious Jackson,
okay.
or maybe it was 311. It was somebody. Oh, maybe
Okay.
it was 311. But they were like, do you need us to fly your banner? Because we're playing these huge arenas,
Oh,
and
I
so
remember
they're
now. I
yeah.
remember now. Yes.
So
Okay.
like, you want to fly your banner? I'm like, I have a fucking banner. And I was like, all right, no, we do want to fly our banner. Give me a minute.
Right.
And so I went and I was like, I need some cardboard. And there was a kick drum head box, the
Right.
box that holds a kick drum head.
Right.
So I wrote Jimmy's Chicken Shack with black and red marker. And I brought it to him. Maybe it was Everclear. I think it might have been Everclear tour. I don't remember. But basically,
Right.
I was like, here, fly this. And of course, the production guys look at me and like, you're such a fucking idiot. And I'm like, so they flew it. And that was our banner. And it was really funny because it looked like a postage stamp
Right.
on a massive stage. And it was a postage stamp that said Jimmy's Chicken Shack. And we carried that for years, and it got beat up, and we flew it from Red Rocks. Like, we played Red Rocks, and that flew in the
Yeah.
middle, floating in the middle of the nowhere.
Wow.
And so that's part of the thing is like, I think probably not a great business decision again, as far as like when you're trying to sell your band to people and be all serious. And
Yeah.
I couldn't do it with a straight face. So I decided to not do it and just make fun of all of it, I guess. So that's a big rock ending.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
it's a long way around to how did that come about. It's just
Right.
part of one of the stupid things that pops in my head while I'm playing a song and going, this is so weird.
Right.
Why are they looking at me? And I'm not this special. And God, all these people are probably fucking smarter and better than me at all of this. And
Oh man.
so big rock ending.
Right. Yeah. Dude, I thought to me it was hilarious. I thought it was hilarious. And especially when you did the knee thing on the monitor,
Oh, put the
Yes.
foot up on the monitor.
Yeah.
That is so mid 2000s. Oh my God, the amount of people that put the foot up and
Right.
get the fucking serious rock look. Cause this chord is hurting me.
Right.
It's like, no, I love guitar faces too, man. The solo faces, like
Yeah.
you can't bend a note without going.
You're
Like,
right.
yeah, you just play and you leave your face alone.
Right. Oh man,
I don't know.
That's hilarious.
I
That
don't
is
know. I'm an
hilarious,
idiot.
man.
I'm an idiot.
Dude. No,
I
that's
bet
what
it. I
that's what I
wonder if
loved.
I might become a better guitar player if I actually started using guitar face.
Man.
Maybe that's why I'm just kind of mediocre, is because I had never embraced the guitar face. Embrace the
Wow.
guitar face. That's
Come on, man. That was hilarious though. I loved it. So I just had to mention that, but but now I'm going to switch up on you, man. Your guitar rig.
oh yeah.
Um, okay, this is for all the guitar guys.
Yeah,
like
all you gearheads.
yeah, all the gear. Like what are you? What have you been using all this time?
Super simple. Paul Reed Smith guitars, because I worked there when they were just a tiny little factory in Annapolis, and
Right.
if they shipped 10 guitars a week, Paul would buy beer for the whole shop
Ah, cool.
on a Friday. And
Right.
and it was just all those people and they were phenomenal musicians. But the thing is that the guitar itself, like, I never liked a Stratocaster, but I never liked a Les Paul. I was just something was always missing for me in both of those kind of guitars. And those There were no other guitars. I mean, and so it was the best right in the middle of that. It was the best of both worlds. And I was the first employee ever endorsed, so I got free shit.
Damn. Hey.
But I will say this though. I also even the first PRS I got, I beat the shit out of it. Like
Yeah.
I'd break a string and I'd throw it across the stage and just grab another. I like battered it. It should have been illegal. And people saw me the way I abused those guitars.
Right.
And they were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, if it can't take it, it doesn't belong on stage. And so that was another thing is there were workhorses. And so Paul Reed Smith guitars. And then I hate Marshalls.
Yeah.
I just, and I don't know. I never plugged into an amp that I liked. And when I did have amps, they was just because I could afford it. But once I was able to buy an amp, it was because I walked into Master Musicians and there was a Soldano Hot Rod 50, and Jim McDonough was like, "Dude, you got to check this thing out." I was like, "How much is it?" He's like, "It's a couple $1,000." I'm like, that's like might as well be $10,000 to me right now, or 20,000.
Right.
I plugged into it and directly into it, and I was like, and it was the clean tone, that cylindrical clean tone. It's just round and deep and then when you overdrive that, when you have a great clean tone and then you overdrive it, especially with tube overdrive, that's a really good overdrive. It was great. And so that was it. It was Soldano. I've been playing Soldano since then. And I literally, up until about a couple of years ago, the only effects I use are a digital delay and a super phaser, and that's it, and a tuner.
Really?
And then, yeah, I don't need to do all that. I realized when I did try to mess with effects, I was like, I'm not that guy.
Right.
And I love playing rhythm. I play solos, but not really fast. I'm not a fast guitar player.
Yeah.
But I just like meat and potatoes. And I realized I never used the bridge pickup, which is the lead pickup for a lot of guitar players. So I just started taking all of my bridge pickups out and then eventually having guitars made where it's just the neck pickup. And I think it's because I started playing as an acoustic guitar player, but also there's the warmth to that. The strings vibrate in that middle of the string, and so when you play that neck pickup, there's a meat to it that's great for the basis of something. And then all these other guitar players who are fucking great, like ridiculous, they get all these effects and do this cool stuff. And I felt like if I tried to do effects, I'd be just covering up things that I couldn't do, as opposed to letting my shit just be raw and getting that really tight. If I can then I want to be part of the rhythm section more than anything is,
Okay.
I wanted, it's like, I feel like that's rhythm guitar. Yes. But Malcolm, not Angus. I'm Malcolm.
Right.
Not Angus. I'm like, da, 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 da.
Yeah.
I don't need to whittly. And other people do that so much better. And then when they put effects on it, they're not covering their stuff up. They're accentuating it. They're adding nuance to it. Whereas I just felt like I only need it every once in a while, and it's not something that's covering something up. So yeah, It's pretty simple. It's the simplest shit, and I don't know anything about guitar, like rigs and gear.
Well, my team, like of course they're guitar guys, and they were like, they had the question of, do you like your neck, like a one piece, or do you have like a two piece bolt on neck? What is your guitars?
There's a mix of them, but mostly I just don't like finish on them. So all of my guitars that I really love don't have finish on them at all.
Right.
Like not even oil or anything. It's just so I get Paul Reed Smith. I started at one point. Somebody had my buddy, a different Kevin Murphy, took some scrap stuff and made me a guitar, and it was a chunk of mahogany, no carve, because the carve always would give me a rash here. That how they carve out the edges around they call that the carve. So I was just like, I just want a chunk of wood. Just give me a chunk of mahogany. Just warm sound of wood, no finish. So he gave me one, and I loved the sound of it. And the thing was, it was so resonant without plugging in, because there's nothing squelching that wood. People forget electric guitars aren't just electric; they're still wood. And so if you let the wood breathe, it affects the sound a ton. And so yeah, my chosen guitar is a no finish on the neck, no finish on the guitar, no carb, just a chunk body and a neck pickup and a volume knob. And then the neck, it could be bolt on, it could be through body. I don't care. It's just as long
Right.
as it feels a little bit like a baseball bat because
Right.
I'm gonna swing that bitch. And
Right.
but it's funny. I brought my guitar to get fixed when we were out on tour with Marcy Playground and Everclear last year.
Mm,
I went into PRS to get some work done on my guitars, which I hadn't done in forever.
right.
And I mean, there's sawdust all over them because I've just worn through. Yeah, it's just wood. There's nothing
Yeah.
holding it in. So anyway, I saw Paul when I went to pick him up. He's like, "Hey, I played your guitar." I was like that's one of the best guitars I've ever heard. I was like, "Yeah, I know." You know why? And he's like, "Yeah, there's no finish on it." He knew right away. And what was funny is Orky, the guy who was worked with Paul for years. When I first had that guitar made, I went to pick it up, and he's like, "Dude, this is the best sound of PRS I've ever heard in my life."
Wow.
And I was like, "You know why?" And he's like, "I think it's because it has no finish on it." I'm like, "Oh." And there's something about it, it's something warm about it. It's something really cool about it. And I mean, I have some of their guitars that have finish on it, and they still sound great. But
yeah.
there's something about there. I don't know that. Mix that, plug that in nice and clean to a Soldano, and overdrive it in the right way, and it just it's simple.
Dude.
It's utilitarian guitar, basically.
Right. Well, thanks for explaining your guitar rig and
My
whatnot.
unrig, my lack of knowledge.
It's all
Now,
good, dude.
now Brian, who does all the demos for Paul Reed Smith Guitars on their YouTube channel.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, talk about somebody who understands gear, and Matt too. I mean, and Island, all these guys, they all, when they used effects, I mean, that's half the time I'm smiling, just playing, just going, that's fucking cool. Where did that come from? Looks like I'm doing it. It's this, but it's just, that was never my gig, man. My gig is,
yeah.
Dude,
I thought you played in the beginning of Face It.
Oh, that part?
Not that part, the second part.
Oh yeah, that's me.
That's you. Okay, all right.
So that's a super phaser just with the pedal, the one knob. I don't know what knob it is, but it's just one knob turned it's, I guess, the rate, maybe it's called. Is that guitar gear people are literally going, "Oh, he is an idiot." Right now. I think it's the rate. So it's like, and then you go faster and it'll go bop, 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 bop.
Oh, okay.
So that was it was just, I just pegged it and it was like, "Ooh, that sounds messed up." And it really sounds great when I go like this on the guitar and bang the shit out of it. And that was my guitar part for that part is, I'm not even using a pick.
Right. Yeah.
Bang, 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 bang.
Right. Thanks for explaining that too, man.
I had to accept that part too. Yeah. Just beat your guitar, Jimmy. Just beat it. You sound better than when you try to play it.
Oh man, so fun. Man, I forgot about this. Long time ago, you went on this TV show, right?
Yeah.
Jerry Springer.
Oh, that one. Yeah. I've done a couple stupid TV. I've done it's like, I've done a few stupid TV shows. So that one was definitely, that was a good one.
Man, how was that like, man?
It was just funny. I mean, so at the time, what happened was a friend named Kira had come over to our house. We were living in the group house, and I'm living with Joe Carr or Joe King, who I wrote "Let's Get Flat" with. I wrote some Jar 5 songs with him and stuff. She was like, "Hey," and this was when Jerry Springer was on at like 3 a.m. So it was this cult thing at this point. It wasn't the daytime show.
Right.
And she comes over and she asked Joe if he would go out to Chicago with her and be on Jerry Springer. She was going to make something up or something. And Joe was timid and like, "No." And I heard it from the other room. I'm like, "I'll do it." So of course I glommed right onto that shit. I'm like, "Oh, I'll do it." Right. So we kind of made up this thing and we ended up working it out to where I brought out my girlfriend, brought out my friend, and pack of us went out there and we made up a storyline and we were going to film behind the scenes. And then our brilliant idea was we were going to sell it to, what was that? A Current Affair or some stupid show that was like reveal like scams or shit. And so we went out there. They paid for the trip. They gave us nice hotel rooms and this nice hotel and a $50 per diem. And I was like, well, we're all taking the robes because they're $100 a piece, and we're gonna order lobster and filet mignon every meal for every day we're here, and go like just barrel through this $50 per diem and not even pay attention because we didn't sign anything.
Right.
So we do the show, and my whole thing was I told the producers, well, I'm signed to this record label called Foul Records. My band is, which was a label I started. So, and I was like, so legally it has to say at the end of the show, Jimmy's Chicken Shack is here because of Foul Records and all. I wanted credits, I wanted shit. I'm trying to get my band signed. I'm like, exposure. So sure enough. And I was thinking, okay, how do I stick out in this? How do I, like, they would play once in a while, you'd see these previews of shows to come, or they'd have little clips of the most outrageous thing. And it was right around, December or something. I was like, or November. And I was like, well, if I could do something Christmas like, then I'll make one of these like little highlights that they can use. And I was like, oh, I know what I need to be able to say. Merry fucking Christmas, ho, ho, ho. If I can utter those words, they're going to use this in a clip. And so we made up a story that like Kira and I were boyfriend and girlfriend, and that the other people, she was cheating on them, cheating on me with these two people that I didn't know. They were my friend and my girlfriend at the time. So sure enough, they both came out, and then I stood up and I looked at them and I said, Merry fucking Christmas, ho, ho, and ho. And they used it, and it went so then they had all these people write into the show and whatnot. I was on that show like 4 times because
I didn't know that.
And I milked the shit out of it every time I could, and we used it to help get signed. So when we went to go sign a record deal, like when we were shopping for a deal, we'd show, hey, he's been on the show. Millions of people have seen this blonde dreadlocks that this guy has.
Yeah.
And and they played a song on one of these shows. Like I forced that was a maneuvering of like, oh yeah, I'm going to take advantage of something that somebody doesn't want to do.
Smart, man.
Well, the last episode that I did, they were like, they made you sign a thing that said, if you ever have lied or any of this is false, you get sued for the production cost of each show you've done. Oh, and that would have cost me $1 million. So I was like, well, guess we're not making an expose. Right. But the lobster and filet mignon and the robes were fantastic. So yeah.
Right. Dude, that's awesome, man. Man, switching from that show, that's great story, man. I did not know that, not at all. Switching from that, could you tell, what would you tell like the young people that are trying to be singers like you and or trying to get into this business? What would you tell them?
Don't get into this business. Yeah, I mean, so
it's tough, man. I'm telling you. Right.
So the thing is, it's get into music.
Yeah,
that's what I'd say. Like do music, embrace music, but fuck the music business. Like the music industry, the business. That will try to suck every bit of joy out of music for you. Yeah, and this is the problem I think with. What happens with a lot of musicians, depending on the motivation that puts them in it. If they were motivated to become a rock star and they don't become a rock star, they give up and they go make some money somewhere else and they're selling houses or they get their PhD or something, whatever it is. The music business will weed out everybody. But the people that stay doing it don't stay because they love the music business. They stay because, well, they just love music.
Yeah.
And the business part of it is just a side note, and they don't let it affect them. They don't let it steer them, first of all, but they also don't let it decide for them. Like nobody in their right mind would have had the career I've had and still be. It's not like I'm getting paid a lot. It's right. But it was never about it. It was always about, I looked at everything and I looked at who I was and I was like, I'm an artist in a
Hmm.
few different ways, and I'm just going to create. And then if people like it, cool. If not, cool. If I just need to do it.
Hmm.
And somebody told me said that to me. They said, if you want to be a musician, don't. But if you need to be, and I was like, that, yeah, no, I got you. I know that. I feel that.
Right.
And so I think that's what it that's really what it comes down to is just play music and love music. And then if it becomes something that you make money doing,
Hmm.
try to just still do it because it's music and not don't chase the money part of it. Don't let the idea of success steer what you're doing. Just do what you're doing. And because all the stuff that's really done well, they didn't try to do that shit.
Hmm.
I mean, I think about the people that have made it massive. Did they? Some did. Some tried. Some have a plan, and I know how to write a hit song, and I know that here's the formula, and I'm going to do it and this way. But that's soulless, and that's fine. There's a place for
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
No despair. I don't disparage that, but I think a lot of people that the things that I love, they didn't. It was never their goal. Their goal
No.
was to create art, and they just hit a chord, and they had all the things in the industry line up in a correct way.
Mm.
So it's like Tetris. The shit falls out, and sometimes the stuff's lined up to where you can slot that thing and turn it, and boom, and bam, everything opens
Yeah.
up, and you just get that score. And then sometimes the shit falls the way it falls, and even if you try to change it, you're gonna and it stacks up, and the game's over. You can't predict it. You just play,
Yeah.
play.
Definitely.
That's it.
Definitely. Man, I like that, man. Man, is there anything that you wanted to ask me?
Let's see how cool is it to play with Ice-T?
Oh man.
That's cool. I don't even have to ask it because it's just kind of like, yeah, I'm just gonna play with Ice-T and his band. That's badass. But how is that? It's pretty cool.
It's it's really an honor, really. Like a
Yeah.
legendary rapper like him, like, and he just spreads so much, knowledge on you. I mean, it's unbelievable how much knowledge this dude has, man. And I
Well,
just try to learn.
that's got to be the cool part. I don't
Yeah.
even honestly music. I don't even care about the music part. You're getting to hang out with this dude who just has a brain and an idea and like it'd just be cool to just squeeze some of the juice out of that lemon, man. It's just like
Yeah.
what's going up here?
Right.
I mean, shit. I saw them at the first Lollapalooza.
Oh man, same here. Yeah.
It was. And a
Yeah.
ministry was easily the best band on that bill,
They were. They were.
easily,
Yeah.
and the most
Yeah.
violent pit I've ever been in. It was a magical.
Yeah.
But Body Count blew me away. I was like, shit, this is really cool. And I mean, that it was. I mean, I know a lot of people were doing rap and rock and stuff, but that was hard, and it
Uh,
was badass, and that was 30 some years ago. He's
yeah.
still cranking it out. It's like, how old is he
Yeah.
now?
67, I believe.
So he's
Yeah.
got 10 years on me.
Right. Or 68, I forgot,
Damn,
but still, but you know who helped me, make that decision to even try out for that band?
who?
Cheney.
Oh no, of course.
Yeah,
How did you
Cheney.
know about it?
I called him. I knew I knew
Did
he
he
was
not try out? Did he try out for him?
No, no, he didn't. I was drum teching for Dave Stewart at the time,
Yeah.
and I got this call from some guy, and he wanted me to audition, so I did, and I called up Cheney, and because I know he's, you guys been in it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I just wanted his opinion. He say, dude, if you don't do this, you need to do this.
Well,
I'm
you
like,
had already been living in LA at the time, right?
yeah, only for like like 2-3 years or something like that at that time.
But see, I remember when you moved out to LA, and I was surprised Derek didn't follow, but he had different things going on in his personal life, right? So,
Yep.
But I remember when you were moving out, and I was like, "Oh, that's a no brainer. Someone's gonna get lucky as shit." I'm like,
Dude.
"Someone's gonna get this boy
Thank you,
in
man.
his van, and he is gonna crush it. And
Oh,
again, I think every single person I've had the pleasure and the honor of playing with musically, whether no matter why they left the band or how they left or whatever happened, all of them, it's like, dude, it's been monsters. Like,
yeah. No,
and so good, like all of them,
all of them.
every one of them, and all different. Yeah, dude, I remember when you moved out there, and I was like, yeah, that's gonna. I wonder where he's gonna land, and honestly, and still where you're gonna land because
Right.
it ain't over. I mean, you're not bound to that, and who
Nope.
knows what'll happen. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe we got to make a record together at some point. I'll come out to LA and we'll just make shit up.
I would be down for that. So
Right?
that'd be
So
great.
yeah,
Oh,
it's just it was not surprising.
oh
It was
man.
like, yep,
Thank you, man.
that's awesome.
Well, Jimmy, man, man, thank you so much for doing this interview with me.
That was a blast, man.
Dude, thank you. Yes, it was. It was, man.
Thanks
Thank you
for
so
having me.
much.
Well, I remember you had asked a while back, and then obviously life takes over, and it's like, and then a year or two later, it's like, oh, I forgot.
Right.
And you're like, I'm sorry. And I'm like, what are you sorry about? I
Right.
don't care. It's all good. You
Right.
got shit going on. I got shit going on. It's all good. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm glad
Yeah.
we finally got to do it because I get to hang out with you. It's the longest I've hung out with you in a long
I
time.
know. I haven't got to talk to you like on this level, like this. I don't think ever, like this.
No, just
I'm glad
hanging.
we got to hang out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So thank you, man. I
Hell yeah,
appreciate
man.
that.
It's my pleasure. And yeah, I mean, all the people that you've had on your show, I've watched quite a few of them, and it's just awesome. So I'm glad to be a part of it.
Thank you, dude. Thank
Yeah,
you.
man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jimi Haha.
Love you, brother,
AKA,
man.
love you too, man.
So
Thank
good,
you so
man.
much, man.
Appreciate
Take
it.
it easy, man.
Peace.
All right. Later. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Will Dorsey Jr. of Talk Music Podcast. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button. That little red button on there, just hit it. That will help me out tremendously. If you can also, subscribe to our YouTube channel, that will also help me. And if you wanted to download our podcast on Apple or Google or Amazon or even Spotify, you can check us out on there. Hope you guys enjoy the show.
Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, E-Record Studio, the new way musicians rehearse, record, and share their E-Record sessions on social media. Visit ERS on erecordstudio.com. Download this amazing app on Google and Apple Apps stores.
Visit us on www.talkmusicpodcast.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Download our podcast on Apple, Google, Amazon, and Spotify.